is impacting the climate. We were discussing the challenges of climate wash in the second session, and now we are going to discuss how we are going to contribute towards scaling the climate smart wash for a resilient Bharat. So, Viksit Bharat at 2047, scaling climate smart wash for a resilient. So, here I invite session moderator Ms. Nenalal Kidwai, Chair, India Sanitation Coalition and FICCI Water Mission. Thank you, ma'am, for joining. Yes. Now I invite Mr. Ravi Bhatnagar. He is Director, External Affairs and Partnership South Asia, a qualified independent director. He co-chairs the Association CSR Council, serves on government committees and governance, health and transparency, and is on the boards of PSI and FICCI SC Advisory Committee on Water, Sanitation and Plastic. Previously, he led external affairs of AMESA at Reckitt and held the senior public policy roles across APAC. Thank you, Mr. Ravi, for joining us. I invite Mr. K.K. Sharma, whole-time director, EHS DCM Shriram Group. He is with Shriram Limited for 9 years and chair at Risk Management Committee, a gold medalist in chemical technology from ICT Mumbai. He also holds a diploma in safety, Kanpur, NEBOSH IGC certification, GRI training in sustainability reporting, and is a certified corporate director. Thank you, sir, for joining us. I invite Mr. Shripad Shinde, Chief Marketing Officer and Senior Management, IDFC First Bank. Thank you, Mr. Shinde, for joining us. He has over 3 decades of experience in banking, insurance, and financial services. He previously led business excellence and corporate strategy in the bank and has launched IDFC First Academy, a financial literacy initiative available in English, Hindi, and Marathi. He is honored by former RBI Governor Dr. C. Rangarajan for his work in financial inclusion. Thank you, Mr. Shinde, for joining us. Now I invite Mr. Rashid K., founder Gen Robotics. Rashid is a purpose-driven entrepreneur and innovator with over 7 years of experience in technology and business development. He co-founded Gen Robotics, creating the world's first manhole cleaning robot, Bandicoot, to eradicate manual scavenging and provide dignified livelihood to thousands of sanitation workers. Bandicoot is now deployed across 19 Indian states and abroad, including Malaysia. Thank you, Mr. Rashid, for joining us.
And Anjali, the most important message, we gave him the award from ISC FICCI in 2019 when he was running his first pilot. So look at that scale of growth from then to now.
Wow.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
And now I invite Mr. Mahesh Babu from Climate Circle. Mr. Mahesh Babu is a passionate leader in Indian waste management sector with a track record of pioneering solutions across diverse waste streams. He established the country's first construction and demolition waste recycling plant, as well as the first Euro norm complement waste to energy plant, while also generating UNFCCC certificate carbon credits. Through his venture Envirno Enablers, Mahesh is creating vital linkages between waste producers and processors, driving scalable and sustainable impact in the industry. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anjali. And I have to say, it's really for me an honor and a pleasure to be amongst corporates, leaders who are at the top of their game, have made the time to come here and be with us, but because of the shared agenda and passion they have in the areas we have been discussing all day. So I should say I'm honored to be in their midst, just given what we will look forward to over the next hour and a bit. So the agenda, a critical one, as you know, scaling climate smart wash for a resilient India. So the way we will look at this session is each of them are doing wonderful work. So in the first round, we'll cover some of the work they're doing. And in the second round, what their vision is for their company and what they do, but therefore also for India. So on that note, let's move very quickly to what is an amazing panel. I should just quickly explain that some of you may have seen a program where Mr. Meena, Secretary, Ministry of Drinking Water Sanitation, was part of this agenda. When Mr. C.R. Patil, only a couple of days ago, in fact, a day ago, got stuck in Surat and couldn't be with us in person, he sent the video message that many of you saw this morning. We requested Mr. Meena at rather short notice to come in the morning to give away the awards and to share his speech with us then. I was hoping he would also do the afternoon, but that was really wishful thinking. So he did ask to be recused for the afternoon because he had spent, as you know, the better part of the morning with us. So it gives us more time to hear from everyone here, which is therefore, I think, maybe a win anyway. So with that, let me just turn first and foremost to, and I'll pick this in any order, not necessarily in the way you're sitting, to Shripat Shinde. The role of IDFC first in the sanitation space has actually been quite spectacular. Particularly what you've done in the financing areas. And I know you've had your challenges there, where they did mention this. Could you share how IDFC First has done in the sanitation and financing area and the challenges you are facing?
Hello. First of all, thank you very much for calling me here. And Mr. Vaidyanathan was supposed to come, but unfortunately he was caught up, and I'm representing him in this conference. For us at IDFC First Bank, wash or sanitation is very, very important. And we have, mind you, I'll give you some numbers and then we'll come to challenges at the end of it. Am I audible?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is quite important because other than the people in the room, we have a number of people on YouTube watching. And the mics become very important for that reason.
Yeah. So for us at IDFC First Bank, as some of you may be aware, but we are trying to build a world-class bank in India, and which is based on 3 principles, which is ethical banking, digital banking, and social good banking. And social good banking is something that is very, very close to our heart and close to the heart of Mr. Vaidyanathan. When we say this, we actually walk the path, and we have given, I'll give you the numbers and then we'll come to some of the challenges. In the past 3 years, I can tell you that, we've disbursed over 1100 crores of loans to this segment, and 100% of our loan takers are women. I'm very happy to say that 100% loans that we've given to women. So broadly, if you ask me, about 3,40,000 wash loans that we've given, of that about 2,25,000 are for water and 1,15,000 are for wash alone. Now, typically the loan sizes for this ranges between 25,000 to 50,000 rupees, and these are all, mind you, unsecured loans. We don't take any collaterals because these people at this level do not have collaterals. And our endeavor at IDFC First Bank is how do we take banking to the lowest segment, whether it is bottom of the pyramid. And we've done all of that through all our products, whether it is not just loans, but even for savings. For example, people like you and me in this room have an RM and they know how to invest and where to invest, and now obviously incomes keep on growing. But at the lower segment, they do not have the RM. So when we have curated our program, so the kitchen is the same. When we have the whole analytics and the whole recommendation that we give to people like you and me, we are extending that exactly the same recommendation to people at the bottom of the pyramid. I'm sorry, I'm digressing a little bit, but for us, bottom of the pyramid is not just important from a social perspective, but of course it's profitable, and we'll come to the challenges as we speak. But that is the kind of loan that we've given. We've given cattle loans. We've given 1 million cattle loans. Now people buy cattle ranging from about 30,000 to about 60,000 to 80,000, so depending on the cost of the cattle. But our loan again ranges between 25 to 50,000. Average ticket size is about 45,000 rupees. So we've given cattle loans. Now these are all income generating loans. For us at IDFC First Bank, we believe that these will lead to significant improvement in their lifestyles. Of course, apart from giving loans for wash and toilet, it also gives them dignity. It also gives them, all of us know about all of that. But these are some of the numbers. Now, when we talk about all of this, so another data point I want to give is, for example, washing machines. We've given about 16 million lifestyle improvement loan, which does not include washing machine, but includes laptops, mobile. Now, why we call these as lifestyle improvement? Let's take an example about washing machine. It's not just anymore an luxury in India. It has become an essential service, because today, if you look at women in India, especially in the rural India, they may be spending about half an hour, 45 minutes just washing their clothes. Now, imagine that amount of time gets freed, and it can be used for productive, maybe income generating activities. We look at it from that perspective. So these are some of the numbers. Having
Actually,
said,
Shripa, on washing machines,
Yeah.
one of the big revolutions when women entered the workforce in Europe was when the washing machine came in.
Yeah.
Because it freed them up from the drudgery of laundry
Yes.
and enabled them to go out and actually work. So you are very much at the core of that revolution if you
Yes.
are dispersing these loans down at the lower levels as well.
True, true. And mind you, these are all unsecured loans, and we'll come to the challenges. We did face some of the challenges, as ma'am pointed out recently, but yes, we are over and above that. We've crossed that path. We're looking for newer partners to partner with in this, but this segment continues to be of significant importance to us. Yeah.
So I think as we talk about this, in every challenge lies an opportunity to learn and to rework what we do. I got worried when I heard that maybe the money was not coming back the way it did in sanitation loans, because when we lend money, we want money to come back, and typically the self-help groups have done very well. Tweaking this became and does become important to make sure that they are the preferred loans that we want to give as banks, because priority sector lending quotas now cover sanitation loans. So the last thing we need is those banks that have shown us the way, like IDFC First, begin to get nervous about it.
Just to add, we are very, very gung-ho about this segment, and it's not that, of course, we've had our own learnings, and we're putting the necessary checks and measures, but this segment is pretty important for us.
Excellent. That is really heartening to hear, and to know that you're not only staying the course, but as you continue to improve the product, you will lead the way for others to follow. Great, and it is all about inclusion, so wonderful that you continue to do this. So Ravi, let me turn to you. You've been an old friend of the India Sanitation Coalition. You've been with us on this journey from the outset, and we've learned from you. Sometimes you banged the table and yelled at us, but we've learned from you. Yeah. So your company, Reckitt Benckiser, has made a significant contribution to sanitation, particularly in the areas of behavior change, hand washing. You've run huge programs on television, and we all know your company and your products as a result. Could you share your experience of contributing to sanitation in India, how it has impacted you, as well as some of the challenges you've encountered while doing so?
First of all, thank you, Nena, for having me here. I'm very happy, like this is 10th year, almost. Yeah. Interesting bit is, like, as you say, like, sometimes I see it as a feed forward what we have been doing. The feed forward is investing more, having sustainable financing mechanisms. As a company, we could do more experimentation, not just with the products or services, but I got the opportunity to work on one of the biggest funds what Reckitt ever created. That's the WIN fund. It's $1 billion fund what I created 3 years back. And in 2 years, I could do $500 million, where all the women entrepreneurs are there, and not just from India, but from the larger region what I work on. Introducing NFTs as one of the funding mechanisms, the money which will be going to the WIN fund. It's almost same like how the Rolex fund is made globally. We made something very similar, and it's there in India. Interesting bit is the loaning with the water.org and working and alliances with the Acumen Fund and Yunus Business Model, where we hugely supported, the loans, the water loans, the sanitation loans My good friend Manoj is not there here, I believe, today. But
He was here till a
yeah,
little
but
while ago.
we could do that. Then the recent one is getting started a new fund mechanism for water sanitation access called Catalyst. Uh, it's a UNGA week going on, so I have the highest number of Catalyst applications coming from India and Africa, which is 75% of my global cohort, where I have the opportunity to choose 20 of the shortlist and provide them four things. One is the mentoring support, like how ISC has done to Gen Robotics and others. Second is basically the cash financing. Third is basically helping them introduce to our businesses and so that they can use our business systems and supply chains and put their products also. And fourth is basically the innovation-led pipeline. Like what next? So the laundry, there's a very interesting project which I saw, Nena, that's called the laundry project. And the laundry project is actually to save the water. It's not electric, it's hand done. And the amount of water it saves is tremendous, and it's also for the SEC C and D also. So if there is no electricity or less electricity or cuts are there, it works well there. And then overall with all these learnings, we also thought like why not to have in our blueprint something on climate. So we run our climate resilience program with whole state of Uttarakhand, although there are challenges working in the program. We commissioned two big studies. One is with the Yale. The study actually focuses on the change on the climate and how this impacts the sanitation practices and the hygiene practices, and it's in the public domain right now. Second is with the AIMS Rishikesh. The study is in the final leg because the landslides and other things have happened. The study has not been completed, but gives us a very good start. Like what more to be added if we really want to support mission life, where this whole discussion on scaling climate smart wash for a resilient India is the topic for our panel. So if the mission life is not strengthened and just in silo, we are looking into sanitation agenda, health agenda, hygiene agenda, likelihood is like we will be winning in the sectors, but together like we will not be winning as India. So looking into that is one big thing what we are seeing. And then 2nd October is coming, like this is the season 12, where you have been almost on all the seasons. So this year, our topics and the topic for the discussion today the intersections between the sanitation, water and hygiene. So the focus is that also only. And leading towards the Viksit Bharat 47, which India will be witnessing again with the 720th live program R, which we are going to start now.
Can you comment a little bit on how you look at plastic waste and those areas, and also the training institute you've been running in Aurangabad and that as well?
We have a big ambition to take our plastic curriculum with the UNEP and other like-minded institutes to more than 1.25 million schools, which also means around 40 million school kids in India. That's our ambition and our plan, what we have put. Second is we have also started something which is very interesting called Safai Mitra Passport. So in the Safai Mitra Passport, it's very easy. You see, like sometimes you get the Amul milk pouches segregated easily from all the Raddi. In the same way, you can see Paris milk pouches also segregated. You will also see the plastic bottles also getting segregated because there's a value attached to that. Question comes about the packets of gutkas, packets of pan masalas, packets of the smaller variants which are not recycled. So we are also integrated the training on the plastic waste management in a better way. Maybe we really need to invest further in that. There are some ambitions which are based on our promises in our ESG guidelines and ESG ambitions for India as well as for global. A long way to go. There's a lot of innovation happening in terms of, we are finding various bacteria which are eating plastics. So will that be possible in the supply chains in the countries like India? There are some experiments which are happening across non-emerging markets. India is a part of the emerging markets, but there are markets like US and UK which are more undeveloped. So we are also trying can something like this work so that in 3 years, if the lifespan and the shelf life is 3 years, a bacteria actually eats the bottle. and we need not to put it back to the recycling or any other process. That's also one way of looking into through the research and R&D lens. That's also happening. Yeah.
So here we get a corporate that goes beyond just the behavior change, but is also sponsoring the innovation, both through the awards you give and the Catalyst program, but your own internal innovation and support into spaces which are to do as much with the supply chain and as it is to do with your product. But it has always been a delight to see what Reckitt Benckiser gets up to in sanitation, and you've been a very important partner for us at ISC. Mr. K.K. Sharma, the DCM Shriram Group has again been a very significant partner of ours at the India Sanitation Coalition. And many of you heard about the Lighthouse Initiative repeatedly through the morning. The genesis of some of that work has actually come from this group, where, as Natasha was reminding me, we first started working in Kota, learning from what you were doing on the ground in terms of working with communities. And the model village concept built on what a number of companies like ITC, yourselves were doing to make sure that what the ministry developed in terms of a model village incorporated a lot more than what they had even thought about, because many of you corporates were already working on the ground in these spaces. So thank you for that guidance. So over to you to share with us what your journey has been so far and your achievements.
Thank you, ma'am. At the outset, I think the roadmap for our CSR was already set when Aman in the previous session shared about that CSR is something which is part of our organization DNA. Almost 136 years back, when this industrial evolution was taking place, the CSR was something which is always remained top of the mind of our promoters. And even today when I speak, every activity, because just to let you know, I had the EHS function in the organization and fortunately on the board. So sustainability is something which we are now formally reporting for last now 7 years in the form of ESG report or sustainability report. But having said that, this CSR is something which is integral part of every activity. So this specific thing is imbibed in all business activities. And the very first thing which I would like to share about, I think the plastic, which Ravi mentioned, is something we are also into the business of plastic. But I always say, being a chemical engineer, is that we should know plastic. K-N-O-W, not we should say N-O-W, N-O plastic. Why? Because right from my specs to mobile to everything which we use today is made out of plastics. So if you really ask me, because in the previous session I was hearing that plastic was also talked about as one of the discouraged what you call product. We should not do that. Only thing is what I feel like just now we heard that plastic bottles can be recycled. It is not only plastic, the metal, the bottles, even the glass bottles can also be recycled. So all these things should be kept in mind when we are talking about recycling any waste which is generated out of our activities. The very first thing which I feel is the transformation of the behavioral aspect. That is the mindset that we have to carry. Whether it is care for any human being, animal, plants or environment, that is the first thing which should be kept in mind. So that is the first thing which once you have in mind, you will be able to take care of those aspects. So the very few initiatives that we have undertaken in our organization, and the person behind those all initiatives is Aman, who is sitting here, though there is full support of our board, where I also sit as part of the board as a board member, but certainly she is the driving force in terms of putting across diligently all the proposals which are getting approved in one go ahead only. And the initiatives which have been taken over these years, the very first one is about sanitation, is by the name of Khushali Swachhata program, under which it is specifically the SDG 6 is covered, where we have our vision in terms of achieving that to end open defecation. That is something which is kept, and especially women and girls are on top of this mind when we are focusing on this specific initiative, and those who are in this vulnerable situation. Under this initiative, over the years, we have put some 628 numbers of toilets in various schools across our sugar sites, which are in Hardoi as well as Lakhimpur Kheri and Kota, and around 482 household toilets in Bharuch, with the collaborative partnership with Finnish Society. But this was not limited to only installation. I think when I speak today, happy to share with you, we did recently an impact assessment of those toilets that we installed almost 3-4 years back. Happy to share with you today, 70% of those toilets are still in good condition. That's the recent assessment that has been done. Though we exited from this project 3 years back, and certainly it's a good number, which ultimately gives a good, you can say, feedback to us in terms of whatever we did in terms of making those projects sustainable is very well in place. And our the success of this program was basically the key intervention in terms of creating, first of all, that mindset what I was talking about, in terms of creating that awareness why it is important to have those initiatives in place in terms of keeping hygiene on top of the priority. And then there were also Bal Sansad, which is the school management committee, that were key instrumental in terms of sustaining these practices. And this also has improved girl child attendance also in schools. That is something which was very important in terms of improving gender diversity at school level itself. The second intervention was about STP installation, which Aman also mentioned briefly in her address about the technology. This is one pilot model which we had created in Haryana in Hardoi district, where this STP was catering to almost a village with almost more than 200 households were taken care of. And this was not limited to installing this STP, but there was a pond also created, which was ultimately used for storing this treated sewage, meeting all the norms that are fit for agricultural irrigation requirement. So it was not in a way that it was just treated and thrown. It was gainfully utilized by those farmers. And happy to share with you that this entire STP was based on a very, very low cost technology, which is by the name of Chefrol. This was developed by Dr. Abbasi from Pondicherry. This was, I think, one of the pilot model which is available for anyone to visit even today also. And I think ISC team also, along with the HCL Foundation, also visited this last year or so, and having that first hand information is something which can be replicated across pan India basis. That is something which I would like to mention. And last but not the least, the cost of operation is so minimal. Almost, I am told, it is approximately some 60,000 rupees or so annually, with a capital investment of 2 lakhs for a plant like some 85 to 90 kiloliters per day of plant. So that means that much water is available for you to not only use for irrigation, but fresh water requirement is ultimately eliminated. I personally feel under WASH program, if in our entire country, if this sewage is taken care of in terms of treatment, I think there will not be any scarcity of water, whether it is residential colonies, whether it is industrial sewage or any other, even municipalities also. If we take care of this sewage part, water will not be a scarce commodity as we hear today. And secondly, the waste, if it is properly segregated, you will have not only hygiene, but it's I think we just heard a few minutes back, the waste to energy is something which is now being talked about. So waste is not limited to waste, it is a wealth that can be created out of it. I remember someone shared few months back, in Denmark there is one huge plant which takes care of the entire generation of the country waste, which gets converted into energy. That's, I think, something those pilot projects are already right now running in our country also, where this energy is a successful model available for us. I think Aman also mentioned about this waste segregation model, which we have already pilot is available for us at Bharuch, but similar models we have implemented with RW Association in Kota also, where it is successfully running, and it is named very well in terms of zero waste at zero cost. What it means is it's a self-sustaining model which is available for us to look at in terms of getting those experience at the first place, so that we can replicate that. And second model, she already mentioned at Bharuch, where it is already there as a sanitation park, where it is segregated, the bio waste is going for composting, and recyclable waste goes for selling and recycling. So these are certain things which are very, very important in terms of the success stories which are available for us to visit anytime, and happy to share in due course of discussion many more initiatives that we have undertaken.
And so hence we continue to learn from the good work you do. I think, I get very struck by the companies that we like to showcase and which I believe are at the top of their game and represented here today, in fact, as well, is the one common factor is the seniority of people engaged in carrying forward the ESG or EHS agenda, however you want to frame it. So members of the board, members of top management, members who are driving that change, that this is not just a function, it is the DNA of the organization. And I think those are the ones and the companies that get it right. And I hope the share markets continue to support this, as indeed they have historically. So, and thank you for, you see the multiple agendas. From our standpoint at the India Sanitation Coalition, showcasing these, and firms like DCM Shriram have been very open to ask others to come and see and replicate, and which is, it takes their time, their energy, but they're very open about sharing this. So it is something which we will continue to do, because that is our purpose at ISC, documenting, knowledge sharing, disseminating, making sure everybody's not reinventing the wheel. So on that note, the right segue to someone who showed us the way, Gen Robotics. Rashid here is just a star in the system. So over to you in terms of your contributions, which I think many are aware of, but also some of the challenges you may continue to face, if at all. But certainly your notable achievements. One of the challenges you shared with me, which would be very pertinent to folks here, is you're now on the path to being MSME as a company. And as you look to scale up in growth, you want to learn from corporates how to actually be that corporate. And you said you have people from groups like Mahindra's and Tata's who are guiding you in this, and people who've joined you to do this. But it would be good to hear how folks here can help you as well.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am. And it has been a pleasure and a proud to sit here, because I remember how I came here in 2019. So I was giving a presentation to ma'am and the jury members, to Mashaka sir, and everybody was there. And so I took this moment to share that experience also, and it was good to have at that time, and a lot of questions at that time. There were jury members who were like asking here and there a lot of questions how it is going to impact, because at that time there is no much proof that we can show, or only I can tell is my vision and what we are going to do. And the good part is that the members who are from the corporate sector, who are from the government, they believe in us, and from there a lot of support and guidance throughout the years which I am getting, and definitely now also, because as ma'am said, it is from an SME to MSME, MSME to a corporate, a lot to learn, and we are also in the phase of learning many things. So, and thank you so much. So just coming back, so what are things we are doing? So we started our journey in as a student startup, by the way, way back in 2015. At that time, it was nothing. It is all about the passion, and that drove us to develop the technologies like exoskeleton. But obviously, everybody who sits here have a common thing, that is the social awareness, or like our like support for the society. Everybody is talking and everybody is having that. So that was the key thing. We call it as purpose, and we always say that passion plus purpose, which completes a life, and that is our entire thing. And when we saw about this problem of manual scavenging, where we got like tweaked, or like got fired by an incident happened, where three people died while cleaning a manhole. So that made us to this technology. So first question, first challenge we received at that time with that problem statement. The first problem statement was that why human are entering and where we are sending spaceship to Mars. So this is our first challenge also, because then we are also not aware, because we have technology, we have mobile, we have computer, we have robots, everything in front of us, but still why humans are entering. Then we search about the problem statement, why this, how this manhole is constructed. Then we found that it is like an entry dia will be smaller. So let's take this bottle. Here, this is in a small entry, and when it reaches, it is double of triple of its size, and that's how a manhole is constructed. Same thing. So the entry which is created for a human to enter, once he enters inside, he can use a shovel or his hand, just use that, collect all the waste and put into in a bucket, and then he is giving outside. So when we think about this problem statement, we don't have any reference. So for example, if I'm going to create a car, I have like an n number of car brands are in front of me. But here what I can see is like jetting machines, suction machines and grabbing machines. But again the question, same thing which is coming to us. If all these machines are there, why a human is entering? So we felt that that is not our reference point. We need to start from zero. We need to start everything. Then we visited many locations. Even we put our engineering, our whatever that graduation we put aside, and then we entered into the real ground. By the way, I was like while I'm studying itself, I'm computer engineer by the way. I got a good job in TCS from the college itself. So, but because of these passion and things, I quit that. I along with my friends, some of them are like in a placed in ISR also, and one guy was in another startup. So that's how my team is also comprised. But because of the passion, everybody joined together. So the thing is that, and first thing, we went to the site, and I still remember the experience when they opened the manhole lid. We went to see that manhole location. When they opened it, there is like a gas. If that opened, and if we don't know there was like such a problem, and we were looking inside, and on the time when they opened it, there's like a gas. We can just clearly feel that it is going through here and here, and through our brain we will feel like that. So by that time we just step back, because we know that that was the first time I'm experienced such a kind of a pain also, because it's in a pain thing which is entering. I can feel that, and afterwards I didn't. Then while opening, I never looked it. I just step away a little bit, and after some time only we used to check if anything, any experimentation or any trial if we required. Then we found that this is like something seriously we need to look. Then we sit with the engineers, and plus we sit with the sanitation workers, because we know that is more important. They are the pioneer in this. They know where the manhole, where the choke, how it is happening, and how to solve it also. So we started talking with them, and at the beginning that was our challenge too. They were hesitant to talk with us, because we are techies, we are engineers, and they are afraid that we may take their jobs also. So at the end, even though they are working on sheet, this is their bread and butter, so we can't deny that. And the thing is that they don't have any other livelihood things, and if they lose this job, then their entire family on hunger. There is no other way. So that was our challenge too. So now it is like a big thing which came on us. So we started again. So we didn't stop. So we were at that time, we invited my friends also. So we are a team of 8 members at that time. when we're starting, and we sit in a room. The God's grace government of Kerala have given like a good place also for us to sit at free of cost. We already said that we are from a normal family, we are not rich boys. So they said that okay, TK, we know you guys, and they trusted us because they know our technical caliber and capability during our college days itself. So because of that, they gave that space, and they have like an R&D lab also. So they give the access to that. We can use the free of cost. Even the one part of the designing this hardware thing, the thing is that for one license itself, it will cost like a lakhs of rupees, for 10 lakhs like that, and we were not able to afford at that time. So, but this Kerala Startup Mission is having all those kind of license, so we requested them. They gave it free of cost. So that's how the journey kicked off. And so when we are developing, we consider these issues, and that's how we come to a design where the robot should work like a human. So what we done, we give like a robotic arm also with the robot. So it is like and we think a lot on the technical thing. Because of the time constraint, I'm not going that much detail, but even though I'm happy to share a little bit more. So we created like an umbrella model kind of, so that in case if anything gets stuck also, automatically it will come down.
We know that the model you have works now. I think it would be interesting to just share what challenges you believe you face now going forward.
Sure,
Because we would love to see you grow.
Definitely.
And of course, grow in India, even though you have global aspirations.
This is exactly what I'm going to say also, because I need a lot of support right now. Because earlier though, we have like a chance to take the experimentation. But now I don't have much chance to take an experimentation. The problem is like I have a team of like around nearly 380 people right now, close to 400 people I have in my company. So if like a big decision, if I took and if I failed it, the impact will be higher. So right now I'm taking very carefully after consulting many people. So here the next thing is that we are entering into the foreign countries. So this is the next challenge we are facing. How to do the business, or how to cater, how to get into that bigger business, like especially foreign business. And as Mr. Ravi sir, he was mentioning a lot on that, he is having more than 60 countries that he is also already operating. So we are looking for the support, especially to Mr. Ravi also. We are looking for the support, how we can do the business in other countries. That is one challenge that we are facing, because we don't know that segment. We are doing that, and especially from the Shriram group also, and from IDFC. So a lot of support in terms of finance. That's the next thing what we are looking, how to get in finance. So if IDFC can also come up something that if we can collaborate, that's like another thing which I just thought of throwing right now. And especially with as Mr. Sharma said, on that CSR part, and because they are already running like a conglomerate, and that is also connecting many rural areas. That is something what we are also looking. We are right now working in 85 plus cities, but here in India 4500 locations ULBs are there. So how we can reach these many thousands of locations, that experience we don't have. I mean, catering into a bigger thing.
Please.
Yeah, please make it like a life that I
just
love.
want to add here, since you mentioned that you need support and whatever. I want to give an example about a company called Golden Feathers, who's into I don't know if you've heard about it. Basically, they're looking at, and as Mr. Sharma also mentioned, waste is a resource. And this company basically is into they collect chicken feathers across the poultry farm. They collect it, they do clean it, and they do a lot of processing onto it, and they convert it into a high quality yarn. They convert it into a paper, and that is being recycled, and we are the ones who finance them. So we'll be very happy to connect with you and look at
Super. That
so we have a program called Catalyst for Impact. Okay, and under that we finance them, but we can look at various options, and very happy to connect with you.
Sure.
So you've got your financiers sitting right here.
Yeah.
Rashid, I'm going to take this away from you because I want Mahesh to share in the same mode. In Mahesh, we have a corporate honcho who then gave up all that to work in his areas of passion, which is also waste management. So Please share with us, Mahesh, where you are at on this journey, because you were doing this years before any of us were even looking at this space.
Thank you, Nana. Firstly, at the outset, I think I should also extend my felicitations to you and to the ISC team. It's a very difficult space, and I've spent decades in it, as Nana mentioned, and the problem is immense. But I think there are solutions that are emerging, and hopefully, I think Viksit Bharat will actually take note of those and see how to scale those up, as I see it. For instance, now currently we worked a lot in the urban space, and then now I'm working on semi-urban and the rural space. Even our agri-waste, if you take, you must have started noticing newspaper reports now about stubble burning. We generate about 250 million tons of agri-waste every year. And all of it actually can actually be a part of waste to energy. And you have people like the power plants now in and around the NCR region. They actually have to do, they're mandated to do 5% of their feed as agri waste. So what happens in this whole sector really is the supply chain that needs to be organized. Because for a farmer, the simplest thing to do is really to light a match, and he has his field ready for the next crop. And unless you give him an incentive not to do that, and you buy his waste well before he actually does that, only then I think you'll begin to see a certain change in this whole sector and space. Similarly, I think two of the panelists mentioned non-recyclable waste. This is another huge problem in India. Actually, we are very good at recycling. Close to 45% of our waste gets recycled, but the PET bottles get recycled, the high-end plastics get recycled. What gets completely left out is what I think you had mentioned, gutkhas and the single-use, very thin, less than 50 micron plastic. That's the real crux of the problem, and that finds its way into the various drains, and it creates a huge set of issues. And of course, water pollution, because it finally finds its way in two places, either water bodies or our dump sites. These are the two places where the non-recyclable plastic actually ends up. So if one can find a solution for that, for the non-recyclable part, as I mentioned, then I think there's a possibility of scaling and attacking this problem. Very fortunately for us, the cement plants, for instance, are quite keen to actually use this as alternate fuel in their cement kilns. In terms of calorific value, it works out to about 5,000 kilocalories per kg. And coal is also roughly in the same range. So for a cement plant, it makes a lot of sense, provided you give them consistency, provided you give them quality, and provided it's done on time. So for them, they can't stop a production process to suit the waste supplier, so to speak. So if we can get the supply chain organized, which is what we are trying to do, we have a very large mandate from one of the largest cement companies in the world, actually, of close to 500,000 tons of non-recyclable plastic waste. If one can execute that in terms of, then you have a chance of, because that 450,000 tons itself is roughly 10% of our total plastic waste. And if you can tackle that at that scale, then you'll begin to see at least this part of the problem disappearing. But it takes a lot of, how should I put it, initial energy and effort. And that's something that, even in waste to energy, when we put up our first plant, I remember the amount of struggle that we had to even convince the then, it was called MOUD in those days, the Ministry of Urban Development. The secretary was so keen to get the Ministry of Power to change the tariff for waste to power. And we were very lucky because the person who was in charge of CERC at that time, the Central Electricity Regulation Commission, was a gentleman called Girish Pradhan. And he said that, you're preaching to the converted, because he said, I used to be the municipal commissioner of Pune. So I fully understand your issue that you have. And he gave a very good tariff. At that point in time, the guideline tariff was close to about 7 rupees 90 paisa per kilowatt hour. So it's a combination of different factors that makes this work, and similarly in the construction and demolition waste management space, I remember just an incident. It's quite interesting at one level. There used to be a judge for the National Green Tribunal called Mr. Swatantra Kumar. He was actually called that because he was born on August 15, 1947. And he was a Supreme Court judge. So his point of view was that if he summons a person, he has to appear. So he called Mr. Mangu Singh, who was the then chairperson of DMRC. And he told him that, look, you've built a world-class metro. What are you doing with the waste? Because the metro waste is unmistakable. It's those huge pillars. And they were all over the Yamuna river banks and the ridge and you name it, in all those areas. So the next day, actually, that waste started coming to the plant that we had built. So in some sense, if you can use regulation also in a clever way, it can't be only regulation. Otherwise, India is one of the most over-regulated countries. But when it comes to actual implementation, there are huge gaps. So if you can combine a carrot and a stick at the same time, then I think you will see progress in this. And I'm very happy to say that that was the first plant we set up in 2009 in a place called Burari. And that was also because Delhi was going through its Commonwealth Games problems. And the city was generating 3,000 tons of construction waste every day. So, we built on that, we set up that plant, and later on that became the benchmark. And actually, Delhi today has processed, the plants that we had built, has processed 10 million tons in terms of scale. Imagine that 10 million tons landing up in the Yamuna or in the ridge, So if you can club the
still
two, then
lands up on the ridge.
Yeah,
it's
it's
full
still
of
probable.
building construction waste.
But imagine if it were,
Yeah.
you can actually, it would have been so
clogs
much
the
more.
landfills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, building construction waste. I sit on the board, as you know, of a global cement company, Holcim. 30% of Holcim cement is from building waste today. And in Europe, it qualifies as green cement.
True.
And the state gives donations and money to the company to reward it. So what we don't have is the pricing model. The reward, the pricing model, the problem still sits with the cement company to collect, to pay, as against the state government paying for someone to remove it and deploy it.
True. That's the unfortunate thing. In India, people think that, when you have waste, if you go to a country like Sweden or you go to Singapore or go to any developed world, you get, let's say, close to $100 for every ton of waste that you receive at your plant. Here you get zero. Because the municipalities just don't have the bandwidth and the financial capability to pay for processing. So they pay for collection and transportation, but the processing gets completely left out. So the model that you need to evolve in this case is it has to be suitably economically rewarding for a cement plant. So that's why the paradigm shift that we are trying is to make sure that the entire economy revolves around rupees per kilocalorie of energy. So it does not matter whether I give you coal or whether I give you waste. As long as I'm giving you so many kilocalories for 1 rupee, and if it is competitive with coal, you should be able to buy it from me. So if you can do that, you're evolving a new paradigm. So waste really becomes a resource, and as you said, for energy, it's something that they're willing to buy then. Then there's no, how should I put it, it's imperative for them to buy. And the other thing in the case of parali, what we call parali in our language is, there's a huge...
Seeing your packaged products.
One of that is that, yeah. But, there's a huge amount of decarbonization that happens. So imagine if you can utilize this 250 million tons of biomass agri-waste and replace the coal that you're using for making energy. It is a real, it's a virtuous circle, so to speak. But I mean, to get the equation right, to get the right supply chain, and this cannot be done by, a couple of companies. Everybody, especially industry, has to play a big role. But I think if you can give them a model that they think could work, then I think, you have a good chance at licking this problem. Otherwise, the non-recyclable plastic and the agri-waste will continue to haunt this country for many, many years more.
So I think the solution for us as we look at the Viksit Bharat, coming to the next part of the conversation, is going to be about exactly some of these subjects and areas being sorted through, because otherwise we burn the plastic, which is just dreadful for climate. If we don't manage sewage, as we've discovered, it leads to methane and gases, which again destroy climate. So this whole conversation of climate and proper treatment, sewage, and management therein has become quite critical for us as a country and of course as a world. And India is still very poor in the way it's managing these aspects that remain neglected. We do well on some. I still get a kabadiwala at home. So we still do segregation in our old style, newspapers, bottles, glass bottles, everything has a marketplace. But it's the rest that is huge in quantities and so distressing actually, which we have to solve for. So looking at the Viksit Bharat program, I'm going to come back to each of you and maybe, we'll just go down the line now on what your vision is for what we need to do in order to achieve what the Prime Minister has set out for us for 2047 in some of these areas. Just thoughts, ideas that you may have so that we can get this right. So over to you, Rashid.
Yeah, so as we are moving towards making like a Viksit Bharat by 2047, so it is very important that we need to ensure that our cities and every cities are clean and proper. Otherwise, the biggest issue is that every city is going through big troubles, including flood. Because if we look where we are in right now, Delhi or Gurgaon or Chennai, whichever the top cities, or Mumbai, where we
Calcutta is drowning right now.
right now, yeah, exactly. So these are the biggest issues, and as we move towards the Viksit Bharat, it happens on urbanization, and where this rapid urbanization will be happening, and these are the tier 1 cities become the economic hubs. So right now we call Mumbai as an economic hub. Like that, every cities, major cities will come like that. So if our cities were not able to accommodate that much people, then we will not be able to achieve so-called Viksit Bharat. We can't. We will not be at all. We will not be able to make it. So what our vision also, the first thing is that provide the best technology which can assure that these drains are cleaned, because we know that the sewerage and stormwater networks are the heart of any city. If those are not cleaned, then the city will be drowning, that is for sure. And if the sewage not cleaned, the city will stink. These are the major issues, and we are seeing this as the top priority to attend, and for that we keep developing or inventing the technologies also. So right now we develop the technology not only for manholes, for the sewerage lines, stormwater lines, and STP, like that, n number of different types of products also that we invented that is specifically for this. And so our request also to all the corporates and to the government and policy makers to create, first thing is that we need to have the separate sewer and stormwater network. They shouldn't be what we can say connected, or illegal connections will be there. That should be identified, that should be blocked. And for what we are using stormwater, it should use for that only, not for sewer or not putting waste. So we have a lot of examples also where they are using mixing the both waste, then it will not work. Stormwater means for rainwater only, sewer means just for waste, sewerage waste. And use the preventive maintenance, not on the what we can say when there is a flood, when there is an overflow, then go and attend. That shouldn't be our priority. Rather, our priority always should be preventive maintenance. Before it gets choked, it should be cleaned regularly, on like in a regular interval. So that is our number 2. And third is obviously use the advanced technology so that efficiency will be higher, because we don't have that much bandwidth and we don't have that much sewer network to place also. So we need the technology which can clean this network faster. So this speed is very much required for us. So that is the next point. And obviously one thing is that STP that we always kept on behind, that also should be looked on very priority, because if we say that economic on direct impact, also a lot of money which are spending for creating STP and even for maintenance also, for one machine costs like crores of rupees. So it shouldn't go like that, where that money also should be saved, and in another way we should increase the productivity also. That should be the point.
So absolutely the focus on sewage networks, cleaning, maintaining, and ensuring that they are properly planned for and repaired. So thank you. Mr. Sharma?
I think taking a clue from Rashid, what he is offering, I think we saw Gurgaon flooding, we saw Delhi flooding. I think his machine, if is properly used well in advance for scavenging all those waste which we just now talked about, I think those flooding can be avoided. Only thing is municipalities and other authorities have to be proactive in terms of taking these actions. So my request is, I think ISC and FICCI can play a very significant role in terms of creating awareness of availability of such technologies or machines for these authorities to take action well in advance. I think having said that, for this vision 2047 is something which is very close to my heart, because as I mentioned, behavioral change is something which has to be set in our mind at all times. Why I am saying so? Because you see lot of infrastructure is being created for 2047 in terms of road, in terms of transportation, in terms of various gadgets that are available for us. But where is the mindset? Mindset still remains the same. Unless we change that mindset, I think the goal which we are having, that shared vision which our Honorable Prime Minister has set for all of us, is something where we all need to work not only individually but collectively. As Rashid mentioned, I think many of us stay in various residential colonies. I would personally urge to you, why don't you see whether the STP is operational or not? The very first thing which is a very simple task for you to raise question on your WhatsApp group or wherever you are. That will give you an answer whether our 2047 is achievable or not. Similarly, waste segregation. Are you doing that waste segregation yourself first of all? Then only you can inspire your neighbor. That's something which is a key to success of all the things that we are talking right now. Not as a corporate but as an individual also. Where I think every contribution by every individual is important in terms of achieving that goal. What I want to mention here is, if you are caring for others, maybe when you are driving, certainly you are reducing those road accidents also, contributing to our ultimate vision of happiness. That is the ultimate goal I think we must keep at all times in our mind when we are acting. Similarly, in our organization also, what we feel the vision 2047 means having all ESG aspects in every business activity that we do. It means inclusive growth, it means sustainability of every activity. Right from, I think we talked about CSR in my previous talk. CSR is part of integral activity, but at the same time, circularity too. Ravi also mentioned, and Mr. Mahesh Babu also. So in our factories, like when Kota was started, circularity was kept in mind. The cement plant which we have is the only wet plant based technology where one of the lime sludge getting generated is utilized in cement along with the fly ash. So 40% of the cement is from the key raw materials are byproducts from the same site. So that not only reduces those GHG emission, but at the same time you have the circularity in-house only. Similarly, the biomass, the sugarcane, the biomass which is generated out of sugarcane is exclusively used for captive power generation, and the excess is fed to the grid. So that's one aspect which ultimately makes our company, you can say 36% of our total gross energy is green energy. Besides that, the various water initiatives that are undertaken in terms of water conservation as well as rainwater harvesting has made our company water positive as well. So we have conserved 10 times more water than what we consume at our manufacturing facilities. Through these agri practices that we promote, the rainwater harvesting structures that we have built over these years at various sites where we operate in terms of anecuts and check dams, and even worth mentioning the unused dug wells were restored. So those are available for farmers for their not only daily sustainable practices but also for agri. A very, I think, without taking much time, a very live example is in Jhalawar in our Kota district. Vegetables were bought from the neighboring states, Madhya Pradesh. They used to come, but through our CSR intervention, when various rainwater harvesting created, now those vegetables are grown locally, and the farmers, not only their livelihood opportunities are available, but at the same time fresh vegetables are also available locally. So thank you very much.
So really, particularly on waste management, looking at the circularity, reuse, and one of the big projects that exists in our Lighthouse initiative and across what we do at the India Sanitation Coalition is grey water reuse. And it's very good to see companies deploying and reusing water as you look at your water positive footprint, where whether it's treated sewage water or grey water, it gets reused or given back to the community, which is so important. Over to you, Shripad. Yeah.
Yeah. See, for the Viksit Bharat 2047 to materialize, I think one of the most important thing, as Mr. Sharma again mentioned, is the mindset. We have to change our mindset. And organizations, for example, corporates like us have a very important role to play. I'll give you our example. Like, for example, we have about 4 million odd square feet of footprint in the country for IDFC First Bank, and 31% of that is already green certified. For example, our head office, we use salvage wood for light fixtures. So recycle, reuse, that is one mindset that we have. Another example is, let's say, people coming to head office, they have electric car, we have a free electric charging station in the office. Okay, so these are some small initiatives that we take for us as employees, but as a bank, I think we are very, very keen to work with corporates. In fact, in startup banking, I'm very happy to say that we have about 25% market share of about 110,000 odd startups that we have in the country, and we are looking at green energy, we are looking at corporates like Rashid, and how we can partner. We as a bank, we feel that we are like an Intel Inside, and how we can help them achieve their goals in terms of transformation, in terms of achieving what they are set out for. Lastly, I would like to say that, by being an Intel Inside for corporates like us, we want to contribute to their success and be a force for, let's say, dignity, inclusion, and sustainable development.
IDFC First has really always struck me with sometimes almost the risks you take. They're well considered risks, quite clearly, in terms of what you do. It's quite unusual to do the kind of startup financing you're doing, or indeed the financial inclusion programs you're running. And I think it's a lesson to many banks as to how having the right heart but applying it with the right head has also created profit and opportunity. So I hope that others can learn from you. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Just the last point that when you said startup banking, I mean, it's about, of course, having a bank account, but we go beyond that. We actually have a mentorship program, as he was talking about, for startups. We get them to meet VCs. We actually tell them if somebody has to write a pitch deck, we help them mentor into how to write a pitch deck. So all of these kind of things, which are not just typically mentioned as traditional banking, we go beyond transactions.
Yeah. So Rashid, you know where you can go for some of the things you were looking for. And equally, I think, Ravi, for the work you do when you identify projects, maybe there's scope for collaboration given what IDFC does across the country. Sure. And the Catalyst program that you identify winners through. Sure. So over to you.
So, as my fellow panelists have covered almost all the topics, but still there are few things which I just want to tell. The first thing first is acknowledging the problem. If we really want Viksit Bharat 2047 to happen, we need to acknowledge the problems of the Viksit Bharat. We are still a country where the life expectancy of a sanitation worker is around 40 years. And our life expectancy is 70 years. So there is a gap of life expectancy of 30 years if I just see from the space of Swachh, Sujal and Swasth. How a country is always being seen from the macroeconomics point of view. How is the life expectancy of the country? What's the maternal mortality? What's the maternal morbidity? What's the neonatal morbidity? What's the neonatal mortality? So the whole concept actually boils to the concept of One Health. If we will not stop looking at it as a sanitation problem or hygiene problem or pollution as a problem or some other problem, and if we are not consolidating our whole efforts toward One Health, then the possibility of, Viksit Bharat looks very, yeah. Next is the mission mode. I always
say this is music to my ears, because hearing a company that is in sanitation products talk about One Health is just fantastic, because indeed you are so right, the connection is there, but not everyone makes it.
So further, like the HDI, the Human Development Index of the blocks. So should we leave aspirational blocks? Should we work on the aspirational blocks? That's also a big question and a big debate. So how deep and how far we can go with our investments, sometimes which are limited. And sometimes we also need to do something like, I remember when Param Iyer was here as the secretary, he used to do the midterm health check of the programs, because the Swachh Bharat was there at that point of time on the mission mode. So if the Viksit Bharat is on the mission mode, the possibility of doing the midterm health check is very important, so that we know what's happening. Last thing from my thing is, like, still India has, we may be in a denial stage, like India doesn't have ultra poor. India has ultra poor. So what's happening to that? If it's real Viksit Bharat 47, if my financing is taking care of just those who have some backing of some kind of assets and I am doing the financing, so what's happening to the ultra poor? I have this big question which I have been asking Matt Damon also. I've been asking a lot of bankers. Also, I have been asking this question to my alumni at the World Bank. 10 years I spent at the bank as a health sector lead for India. So I have been asking these questions, but yeah, today at least we are in a position to discuss this all, and maybe like this is the beginning of something which will lead us toward aspirational India, which is Viksit Bharat 47, by also checking the spends. What's happening to the spends? Are the spends going down on the behavior change? Are the spends same? Are the spends negative? I remember when I did the midterm health check of Swachh Bharat when Theresa May was the Prime Minister of the UK, and we presented it to the Prime Minister here in India. We discussed this, like, the spends are less than 1% on the behavior change. Can we bring it to the global levels of around 6% to 7%? Some magic happened, I don't know how, but it reached around 7.5% to 8%. So the Mahatma Gandhi's Chashma was everywhere. That became a fashion statement. And a lot of companies who started, investing in, toilets and the technologies, biodegradable toilets, biodigesters and everything. So can we bring back that mission mode? So the mission mode is required, Nena, which I personally see for the Viksit Bharat 47. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I do wish the secretary was here, but we will carry the messages back to him. Mahesh, over to you.
I think much has been said. So fundamentally, I think if we can bring together communities, people who collect waste, municipalities, industry, and the government, I think all stakeholders have to play a role if we are to address this problem. In terms of actually getting it done on the ground, a combination of both regulation as well as viable business models need to be developed. So I at least am a great believer that one can valorize waste, and it plays a very big role in our decarbonization initiative also. And if industry plays a big role, I think it can be addressed.
So you have for so long been the expert on waste to wealth, and I sense rays of hope there in terms of the uptake, because the sad thing is, to my mind, many solutions exist around the world. You have shown us the way with solutions here. Why have we not been able to scale these now? Because we're no longer looking for solutions.
I think, Nana, it is starting to happen. I think there is movement in the right direction, but I think it needs a push. If you look at solar, for instance, when you first started solar, you were at 17 rupees per unit of electricity. Today you are at 2 rupees, right? So this industry is nascent. It will take time. Let's not delude ourselves on that. But it needs constant initiative, and it needs a lot of factors to come together to take it in the right direction. But I think slowly, at least I see, even among the people of our country, there's so much of enthusiasm now to try and do something about the problem. And as we urbanize, if you're going to have 600 million people in our cities, and all of them not doing proper segregation and waste management, it's going to really become a huge issue for our people itself. So at least I see hope.
I think on that note, it's time to draw an end to this very interesting discussion. And I think it's not just Mahesh. What I sensed through all the contributions today is nobody's given up. Of course, we need more Gen Robotics and Mahesh Babus who don't lose heart. 4 years without a salary trying to create some engineered product which you don't know is going to exist. I mean, it's like scary. People giving up jobs to do all this because of the passion. But we have people like this in the country. Mahesh, you never despaired. You've struggled, you've worked, you've led the way. You were way ahead of before we were even seeing it as a problem. But you didn't give up. And so we have people like you in the country. We have solutions. We have extremely, to my mind, responsible and highly sort of thought through companies such as the ones, three of you here today, and others who we work with, some of whom are in the audience, who see the future through the right lens. And so I am filled with hope that we have the startup essence, we have technologies, we have corporates who will take it forward, and as you heard from the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation in particular today, I think the vision and the desire to go forward and the outreach that we have seen from the Ministry of Drinking Water Sanitation to the corporate sector through the Lighthouse Initiative, which we at ISC have been able to work at, tells me that the desire to collaborate, to partner, to work together, to not know it all, is very much now part of this agenda. We have a lot to do on the urban side. I think there's a fair degree of success at rural, but at the end of the day, there is much to be done, as I think Ravi's pointed out. Mahesh, full of hope, but gently also points out that there's work to be done. We see the successes that IDFC First has had, and this is, despite regulation, you just led the charge, you found your space, and you do it well. And I think all of us other banks should be learning from you. The DCM Srirams of the world, who embraced circularity before it was a requirement. And of course, Gen Robotics, who absolutely steals the show whenever they are with us and otherwise. So thank you all for what you do, the vision for 2047. And thank you to the audience here. We should give, do we really have time for questions here, Anjali, Natasha? Are there any rearing questions, or does everyone want to just break up now? So if not, we won't have any, we'll just end on this right now, this note of hope, and truly a big hand to the panel. So announcements for tomorrow, and yeah, Anjali.
So we thank you, ma'am, and the entire panel for the great discussion. I think Natasha ma'am will take forward from here.
So thank you, everybody. I think, unfortunately, I had to keep zipping out. I normally don't do that, so apologies to this very, very interesting panel. But we have recorded whatever you all have said, and we will be transcribing it. If anyone is interested, we will share the recordings as well, because these are very, very important learning sessions for a lot of us. And I know I pick up every year, I pick up lots and lots of good learnings, just listening to eminent panelists like this. So if anyone does want a recording, please do ask us, and we'll be very happy and honored to share it with you. Also, thank you very much for staying with us throughout the day. I think every year I say this, it was a great year, better than the last year, and I'm going to say that again. Amazing session this year. I thought everything went really well. Our panels were really fantastic. I got lots and lots of good feedback from a lot of you, who enjoyed the discussions. So thank you again to the panelists, and thank you to all of you for being here. Tomorrow morning are our workshops. Those are also very exciting. Those of you who've registered for the workshops, we look forward to receiving you there. And hopefully, again, there'll be very exciting discussions. So thank you. And please, for those of you who are coming to the cocktail, we'd like to see you at 7 o'clock. Thank you. I will send it to you. No, I will send it to you.